Hi everybody. So in today's video, I'm going to go over the first two example problems from your practice worksheet with you so that you can take some notes and review the ideas that we've been learning over the last few days of class. After I'm done going over these two problems, you will be responsible for finishing the rest of this practice worksheet and making sure that that is done before you come back to class when I see you again. Please make sure that when you're done, you check your answers on Google Classroom, and that should be something that you do once you've completed the entire worksheet, so there shouldn't be any phones or Chromebooks out while you're actually working today. All right, let's start with problem number 1. The directions here say solve this system by substitution. Now, when we talked about substitution in class, we said substitution is just another word for plugging in a number or an equation. So in this problem, since we know that y is equal to 8 minus 6x, what we're going to do is we're going to take the other y in the problem, which is in the other equation, and we're going to replace it with 8 minus 6x in order to solve. Here's what that's going to look like. If I copy this equation, I'm going to copy the 2x minus the 2y equals negative 2. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the y. I'm going to replace the y with 8 minus 6x instead. So you're taking the y that was already in the equation out of the equation, and you're replacing it with the 8 minus the 6x from the other equation. Now my next step is going to be to solve this. So I'm going to start to solve by distributing the negative 2. When I do that, I get negative 16 plus 12x. And then I'm going to take this 2x from the beginning and I'm just going to drop it down and not change it. Just copy it down. On the other side of the equation, I just have negative 2. Next, what I'm going to do is combine the like terms. So 2x plus 12x makes 14x. I'm also going to then copy down the minus 16 and the negative 2. Next, I'm going to add 16 on both sides of this equation, and that's going to give me 14x equals negative 2 plus 16 is 14. And then I'm going to divide by 14 on both sides of this equation, and I get x equals 1. Now that's the start of my solution, is that the x value in my ordered pair should be 1. But I need a second number for my solution. I need to find y. So what I'm going to do is go back to the original problem where I had an equation that said y equals 8 minus 6x. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this equation, y equals 8 minus 6x, and I'm going to take this 1, which I now know is the value of x, and I'm just going to plug it in. So I'm going to have y equals 8 minus 6 times, instead of x, I'm going to write 1. Now, 6 times 1 is just 6, and 8 minus 6 is 2. So my final answer here would be 2, and that is the y value in my ordered pair. That is a quick review of how we do a substitution problem. Let's also take a second and review how to solve by graphing. So when I need to solve an equation by graphing, I'm going to start by graphing both of these equations. And in this problem, that means I'm going to start with 2x plus y equals 4. Now, in this equation, I'm going to find two things. I'm going to find the x-intercept, and I'm going to find the y-intercept. When I want to find the x-intercept, I'm just going to make the y value in the equation 0. So if I replace the y with a 0, I just have 2x equals 4. If I divide on both sides, I get x equals 2. And so the point that I'm going to graph is 2, 0. And I'm going to go ahead and put that on my graph right here. In order to find the y-intercept, I'm going to make this a different color so we can see two different points when we make our graph. In order to find the y-intercept, I'm going to find the place where x is 0. If I replace the x in this equation with 0, I just get y equals 4. So the point on my graph would be 0, 4, which is right here. Now I'm going to use my straight edge. I'm going to make a nice straight line through those 2 points. Now I'm on a computer right now, so it's going to be a little harder for me to make a nice straight line, but I'm going to do my best. So I'm going to look like this. I'm going to get my nice straight line. You guys should have a straight edge or the edge of your ID so that you can make a nice straight line on your paper as well. Now, in order to graph the second equation here, I need to go ahead and use the slope and the y-intercept. And the reason I'm going to use the slope and the y-intercept here is because in this equation, the y is by itself. So in this equation, the y-intercept will be 1, and the slope will be the number that is before x, which in this problem, there's an invisible 1 there. In order to graph my slope, I usually want it to look like a fraction, so it's 1 over 1, which means I'm going to rise 1 and run 1. Now I'm going to start by graphing the y-intercept, which is 1, so 0, 1, which is right here on my graph. From there, I'm going to go up 1 over 1, and that's going to put me right here. And I'm going to continue to do that up 1 over 1 a bunch of times so that I can get a nice straight line. Once I'm done doing that, I'm just going to draw my nice straight line on my graph. Now, the final step here is I need to actually answer the question. And the answer to the question here is going to be the place where these two lines intersect. So these two lines intersect right here in the middle. And the coordinates of that point right there are going to be my answer, which in this problem is the point 1, 2. Now I want to point something out to you because this is how the rest of this worksheet, at least through problem 8, is going to go. For both of these answers, for the answer right here for problem number 1, and for the answer right here for problem number 2, they both had the same final answer. Now, the starting problems were different, and the methods we used for solving were different. We did one by substitution and one by graphing, but the final answers were the same for both of these problems. The reason I'm showing you that is that you will be able to, at least for the first half of this assignment, check your own answers. For example, when I solve number 3 by graphing and number 4 by substitution, I should get the same final answer for both. That's the way that this assignment was designed. Once I know that I have the same final answer for both, it's a clue that I did something correctly. Please feel free to work together today to make sure that you fully understand everything that's going on. And please make sure to circle any problems where you have questions so that we can go over them in class the next time that I see you. Thank you guys for doing your best to be responsible and respectful while I'm gone, and I will see you soon.